Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to uncover a financial habit that has a huge global impact. And believe it or not, it all comes down to one single kind of shocking number.
Okay, let's just put it right out there. That number is 45.9%. Seriously, this one figure, it's the key. It unlocks a totally different and, honestly, an incredibly powerful way of thinking about money.
So what is that 45.9%? Well, that's China's gross savings rate. Now, to put that into perspective for you, for every $100 someone earns, almost 46 of those dollars get saved. I mean, that's just, wow. It completely dwarfs the rate here in the US, where we're usually hovering somewhere in between like 3 and 5%. The difference is staggering.
Which, of course, brings up the big question, right? How is a gap that massive even possible? What's the secret sauce here? And maybe more importantly, what can the rest of us learn from it?
All right, to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to look past the spreadsheets. We need to dive into the cultural mindset, the blueprint that makes all of this discipline possible.
You know, the comedian Ronnie Chiang has this great bit that just nails it. He points out how the pursuit of wealth is just so baked into the culture that it's literally part of the New Year's greeting. Think about that. It's not Happy New Year. It's I hope you get rich. That says a lot, doesn't it?
And that mindset, it's really built on a few key pillars. For one, saving is taught as something honorable right from a young age. Kids get that lucky money in the red envelopes, and the expectation is you save it. Plus, there's this really strong cultural push to avoid debt and just pay for things with cash you actually have.
But okay, it's not just about ancient traditions. Something much more recent actually played a massive and kind of unexpected role in kicking this savings culture into overdrive. And that was the one-child policy.
So that policy ended up creating this pretty big gender imbalance. At its peak, you're looking at 122 guys for every 100 women. And what does that do? Well, it creates some pretty intense competition. All of a sudden, there was this huge social and financial pressure on men to prove they were successful providers. And a big part of that was having a lot of money saved up.
And if that wasn't enough pressure, get this. There isn't really a system of retirement accounts like the 401ks or IRAs that we're used to. Plus, a lot of people worry that the state pension system might not be there for them down the road. So, the responsibility for everything, healthcare, your kids' education, your own retirement, it all falls right on your shoulders.
Okay, so we've got the culture and the demographics. That's the why. But what about the how? How do people actually put this into practice? Let's take a look at the budgeting system they use.
Now, what's fascinating is that the secret isn't some complicated formula or fancy app. It's actually a super simple idea. You just give every single dollar a job to do. It's all about total financial awareness. Here in the West, we actually have a name for this. It's called zero-based budgeting. And the rule is dead simple. Your income minus all your expenses has to equal zero. Every single penny gets a name on it before the month even starts. It doesn't matter if it's for bills, food, paying off debt, or hitting a savings goal. It all gets a job. So here's a quick look at how that actually works. Let's say your monthly income is $4,000. You take out your rent, your groceries, but here's the key. Your savings goals for an emergency fund, for retirement, for a new car, and your debt payments, you treat those just like bills. They're non-negotiable expenses. And when you're done, every single dollar has been assigned, and you're left with exactly zero. Perfect. But look, a system is just a tool, right? It only works if you have the right mindset behind it. So let's break down the 4 frugal principles that really make this whole thing work.
All right, there are basically 4 core habits. These are the things that take this budgeting idea from just theory on a page to a really powerful real-world practice. Principle number 1, avoid status symbols. It's all about utility, not luxury. The idea is to stay humble, fly under the radar, Not to show off your wealth with a bunch of flashy, expensive stuff. Second, and this one's a really powerful mental model, just try to live on as little of your income as possible. For a lot of people who grew up without much, saving wasn't about getting rich. It was about making sure they'd never be in that position again. It's like a game. For every $10 you make, can you live on just one?
Okay, number 3. You have to get crystal clear on the difference between your needs and your wants. The whole philosophy is spend what you need to on your needs, especially things that are good for your long-term health, but be super, super frugal when it comes to your wants.
Here's a perfect example. An ergonomic desk chair that's going to save you from back pain down the line, that's a smart investment in a need. It's about your well-being. But a designer shirt just because of the brand name, that falls squarely into the want category. It's all about making those smart, reasonable choices.
And finally, principle number 4. This one is probably the most universal money-saving tip on the planet. If you really want to kick your savings into high gear, the absolute simplest and fastest way to do it is to cook and eat at home. It is without a doubt the biggest lever you can pull to cut your spending and see your savings rate jump, like immediately.
All right, so we've looked at the culture, the societal pressures, the practical methods, but let's bring it all home. What does this all mean for you?
Because the real takeaway here isn't just a lesson about one specific culture. It's really a blueprint for being more intentional with your money. It's about figuring out the why behind your savings goals, using a system to give every single dollar a mission, and, this is a big one, seeing saving not as some restrictive punishment, but as a powerful tool to build security and ultimately freedom.
You know, it all comes back to that greeting Gong Si Fa Kai. It's a whole shift in perspective. It's not about passively wishing for a good year. It's about actively building the future you want, $1 at a time.
So I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about. What could you achieve if every single one of your dollars had a mission?